So yeah, that's the wet hair. Since I said I wanted to document more of my fears, one of the one that keeps showing up is the fear of not doing enough. And one of the tips I got from the internet was doing stuff. I know it's crazy. And so the idea is I will do more stuff. God, my heart is beating out of my chest. Break it down into steps, just into steps. We want to make a bad version of a video, and we want to work as much as we can hold without breaking rule one. You're scared because it's something that's important to you, and you wish you were good, and you're not good. And it will never happen if you don't make it bad, and can only be better. And like, I think the really painful part is, you know that your ideas can be good. And the problem is that the really painful reality is that ideas don't mean shit. Everybody can have ideas. And it's execution. And execution takes skill, and skill takes repetition, and repetition is uncomfortable and boring, and beginning is scary. And that's the trade, right? There's a trade in everything, and there's a bunch of people who are not taking the trade you're doing right now. And you're already further than them, because I think with making, having made 15 videos, and I think this would be on day 16, so you broke your old record. This feeling that you're feeling right now is already something that most people aren't willing to do. And if you think about that, this is kind of the end of their personal potential, where they then go, okay, well, it's too scary. I'm just gonna work at the supermarket for the rest of my life, even though I don't want to. I wish I could be someone else and something else, and I have all these ideas, but I'm too afraid. That's sad. That's sad to me, because the trade, of course it sucks in the moment, but like, I'm 20. Like, I will very likely live, I don't know, 60 years. That would be cool. And as someone who's 22, that, like, it's just not gonna matter. And I think the huge mistake other people make, and I make mentally as well, is this process that I'm going through right now in my 20s, which is starting completely from scratch, doing something I have no idea of doing, and possibly being judged for it, especially by myself. If you're a kid, the same thing happens. Like, when you're 5 and you draw the picture, you're still drawing the shitty picture. You just don't have all the poison from being an adult who has taste. And by the way, I'm just realizing, no, I'm not naked. Like, I'm not fully naked. I have pants on. when you're a kid, other people say, oh, he's just a little boy, it's normal that he's bad. While in reality, your age has nothing to do with how good you are. Just the amount of time you've spent on something has something to do with how good you are and how well you practice. And that's why then there's like a 15-year-old or a 12-year-old, but the 12-year-old has started when he was 4, and so he's like 8 years of experience on this thing, and then people go, oh, he's so talented. But he's not talented, he just did it a bunch. And for some reason, we expect, little people to not have as much focus. And I think the reason for that is that in our job, we also have to specialize. And so by nature of our system, people who are older are way better at specific things they do over and over again. And kids kind of taste everything, and they're usually bad at everything because they're not concentrating. And people also encourage them not to concentrate because, it's not that fun only to do one thing unless you're really in love with it. But you would always encourage a kid to be like, hey, try it, maybe you like it, And then they would be like, oh, that sucked, I'm not even good at it. And he would be like, hey, of course you're bad. You just started. I've like, what is it now, 2 weeks of minute-long practice. And I have thousands of hours in other things that I've done in my life. And I'm not even crazy good at those. And so I think your ability to reason from what you think is logical will be always more important than both the opinions of other people, but honestly, even sometimes than your feelings. Because it's like, yes, it feels bad because you're like, I don't even like, it's so hard to, the logical part of me is kind of trying to understand the emotions and being like, what are you afraid of? Like, what's gonna happen? Okay, you make the shitty video, it's the one you really care about, you really like, and it's really bad, because of course it is. And then other people who are probably even nice to you go, hey, this is really bad because of XYZ. And then you're like, oh yeah, these are the reasons, and you fix those, and you fix those, and you fix those. You do it 10,000 times and really good. And you, like, there's nothing else to expect. So you try to get to the first version as quickly as possible. And I did that. But now that I'm realizing, like, hey, there are some things that are really hard to practice. Continuity for a shot that's just 10 seconds long. So rather basically spend a few days making a full sequence of things that are bad, kind of like a storyboard, and then trying to make it will probably teach you fuck ton. And the only reason I will back down from it if I feel like it violates rule 1, which is never stopping. So if I feel like I took so much on that I don't want to do it again tomorrow, then I would dial it back down, because then I'm trying to do too much at once. But it's like, basically what I think is, now that I've decided that this is the right way to go, it will mean that I'm almost intentionally gonna have to make a really bad version of something I care about, of an actual story with actual characters. And you have to see all the actual flaws and the actual differences, which, when I look a bit at my arc, at least, the last couple months or something, that's kind of what it's all about. Beginning is about reality, because we cannot fix what doesn't exist. And as long as a story like this, or a video, or a song, or whatever you want to make, exists in your head in this like really nice, comfortable state of being totally good, in your head. So, and then you're denying it the reality it deserves of even getting to exist and getting to be bad, because you're too judgmental, right? I'm too judgmental. I've had this idea, and everybody can have an idea, and it could be real, and the difference are my skills and the willingness to pursue it. And I'm like suffocating the idea because I'm not willing to let it exist in a bad state, which is really mean to the idea because it didn't do anything. Like, it's kind of like, imagine someone has to like do like a prototype, or like George Lucas wants to make Star Wars, and so he's like he doesn't allow a bad first script to exist because in his mind it's so much better. It's like, but that's what I'm doing. It's so crazy. Like, the things don't even get to potentially be great because it's so nice and comfortable in my head. It's so nice and comfortable not having to face yourself in your head, because you can just always be that version of yourself. You can just always imagine you did something, because then you don't have to face the way you are, and therefore you're denying yourself the person you could become if you just did realize it. Because the reality is this, I think: if you truly look at it and you truly realize yourself and you see the way you look and you're unhappy, or the things you can do or the things you have achieved, and think about, well, you might die tomorrow and this is all you did, then you would fucking do something about it. I don't even know if I can swear on YouTube. I'm gonna learn that now. But I feel like this is like the big crux of today, that if you did truly look and you truly accepted that it could exist, this is where you are, then you would be like, well, it's just gonna stay like this. This is all that happens if we just let time do its thing. Idea here, reality here. And if I just put these two there, then it's like, well, the kind of obvious only thing you can do is kind of move towards that. What else are you even gonna do? Like, what else can you do? You could try to be happy with this, or you could try to stay fantasizing about this, or you could slowly move towards that. And one of the really positive signs, which I'm going to end this off with, is I had this thought, which usually would really hit me hard, which was some kind of conversation about people talking about their career or the things they'd made, and then they would talk about their past, and then they would be like, and the embarrassing was, I haven't even started, right? And usually this would really hit, right? The last 10 months, this would really hit. Because I would basically be like, oh yeah, right now everything is literally just in my head. But I keep forgetting that I have went through the steps like 3 weeks ago and finally decided to actually do it. But the learning is, I guess, that it's a continuous battle of having to have this exact conversation. Like, it's so much more important to me to have this conversation over and over and over again instead of learning new things. Because this is kind of the thing. And I think it's really good for like someone in the future seeing this, that it's not really something you like beat quickly, the same way I don't beat my mental situation quickly. It's you get better at dealing with the same problem. And so at some point it feels like you have beat it because you've built this huge muscle of dealing with this feeling, with this thought, with this perception of yourself or reality. But then you have thousands of reps, and so you say, oh, I don't even have this anymore. While in reality, you do have it, and then you have this huge amount of skill that like just crushes these fears and worries. But if you begin like, yes, I'm better than I was 2 weeks ago, because 2 weeks ago I literally didn't even want to make anything. But that doesn't mean that now I'm going to wake up and be like, oh, of course I'm like all my worries are gone, right? That just doesn't make any sense.